skill come from, and so on? Where did the men who worked the stone come from? But of course, before Ballynaughton, you had places like Golden Hill down in Maitiú and so on, quarrying stone, and all of the great buildings in Dublin, many of them in the early 19th century, like the GPO, Nelson's Pillar 1808, GPO 1818, many of the buildings in Trinity College, which were built around that time, stone came from Golden Hill and that area of Maitiú. You know, Ballynaughton wasn't working, there were no parts. And for some reason, perhaps the stone ran out in that area, they began to move to Ballynaughton. And Rosie O'Reilly put it, and I'll never forget what she said. She said, Paul Duffy was the first man to raise the hammer in Ballynaughton. Poetic way of putting things. A man called Paul Duffy, who had originally been working in Maitiú, okay? And a man called Patrick O'Reilly, or Halligan, family is still around, of course, also owned a quarry in Maitiú. So they began to move to Ballynaughton. Now, why Ballynaughton? Well, part of it probably was that the Cobb family owned land around Maitiú, around the area, and they also owned land in Ballynaughton. You know, so it was they were coming to another part of their own estate, if you like. So I'm pretty sure that it was 1824 that the quarry began in Ballynaughton. Just a few slides in relation to all of that. That I should have said. That map, that's a map by a man called Jacob Neville, and it's from 1760, and you can't see it, the quality is very bad. But Golden Hill is marked on, and beside Golden Hill it says Freestone Quarry. Okay? There was a second edition of that map in 1798 of all years, and Freestone Quarry at Golden Hill is mentioned, but Ballynaughton isn't. Ballynaughton is mentioned, but no quarry. You know, so that was the story before they had moved here. Also, there are reports from the Cobb estate. Some of their records relate to Ballynaughton. This is the Cobb family that owned Newbridge House in County Dublin. Some of the records that they have mention Ballynaughton, say around, I think the date actually is 1777, is a description of Ballynaughton. And they talk about communication between it and the area around Blessing and so on. And I think they say, as far as I remember, from around Lacken on, it's only trails for pack horses. You know, so really you wouldn't have been able to move the stone very easily on pack horses. Anyway, that's the map. That's another part of the map where they show, you see the stone being a little cartouche, they call it, a little picture on the corner of the map, and they kind of land hammering their way, and it seems to be quarrying stone. You know, they put in various industries that were being carried on in and they include quarrying of stone in it. So these are some of the buildings that were built by stone that came from Golden Hill and associated areas. In the graveyard in Maitiú, there are a few very interesting headstones. One family that crops up regularly is the Doyle family in relation to stone cutting there. And in the early records of stone cutting in Ballynaughton, the Doyles are also mentioned, so more likely the same family. But on the corner of you can't really see it, left-hand corner, the little thing that's sticking up there is sort of instruments, a compass and a square, kind of relating to stone cutting, you know. Of course, these are also used by Freemasons as well, but I don't think we're talking about Freemasons here. I think we're talking about real Masons, you know, because that's what the stone did with the Doyle family. So the connections are sort of Doyles, Oligan or Halligan in the early years, straddling the two areas, and Father Morris Brown, who wrote the book Mona speaks of the early days. Now he tends to exaggerate a bit, but he said something like 400 men would cross the hills from Manor area, to come to Ballynockin to work the stone there. And they'd stay for a week, and they'd go home at the weekends, Saturday lunchtime as it were. They'd work a half day on Saturday, but they'd go home to the Manor area, and they'd come back again early on Monday morning to Ballynockin. Quite a different exaggeration, but you know, it's sort of just a period straddling the two areas, you know.